I mean, Rihanna had a baby on stage, and that was a bridge too far. She's black. She's a woman. She had sex. She probably enjoyed it. Oh my God. So, that
She
goes.
might have.
Yeah,
Might have.
she might have.
Right. Hey guys. So this could be awkward. I was looking at a poll recently, and okay, who answered which one of you answered what on the poll there, man? Because this is gonna get awkward now. According to that absolute, paradigm of scientific polling, RaShaun polls, 1 out of the 2 of you doesn't like me. That's what it told me. Okay, that 1 out of the 2 of you is unhappy with me right now. Maybe more so than usual. What's going on? Greg, was it you?
I mean, don't believe everything you read in the funny papers.
Okay, I mean that's
the funny pages.
That's probably possible. RaShaun, how did you answer on that poll?
When was that poll? Because if it was during, let's say, middle to late December, I may have had a couple of issues with you.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough. Okay, all right, that's fair enough. I don't know.
But it's what the holiday called for, so it wasn't out of animus or disrespect.
Okay.
I was respecting my elders and my ancestors.
Gotcha. All right, get out of here, Jew. You killed the savior. We get it. I know how it goes. Sorry, I get it. It's like
Festivus for the rest of us.
That's it. I got your airing of the grievances of how it goes on here. All right, so we good? We tight? I mean, everything all right? I mean, I'm just sure.
I was just being honest with the poll during Festivus. I can't speak for any other poll. I did not take one since or before that.
I mean, RaShaun is so accurate. It's not like it's the outlier to every poll that's ever taken. It's not like when you read 528, there's always RaShaun, out there on the one side. It's not like, it's not like I couldn't trust that or anything, but now all of a sudden it's supposed to be a hate group and we can't associate. Oh God, it's just, oh man. My funny papers are all messed up. This is really just kind of awkward. I don't know what to do here. How are we gonna do this? Can we have a group hug and put the steam gentlemen back together? Can we get past this?
We were never apart, man. Fuck.
I was gonna.
We were. Can we get together and say fuck Dilbert? Who gives a fuck about Dilbert? Or the guy who made it? I mean, the thing that got me is how hard it is to come up with a winning comic strip, fucking comic strip. And you actually did that, and you're gonna piss it away on not even juvenile racism. This was if you're going to say there's a complex racism and there's a juvenile racism, this wasn't even juvenile racism.
The comic strip thing.
Fuck him. I'm fine with it.
When I think about the comic book thing on a somewhat more serious note, it always amazes me. Gary Larson really never intended to be a comic and write comic strips. And nowadays, since he's retired, he does apparently, he works in a jazz trio. I think he plays clarinet. I'm not bullshitting. Like, all this stuff is 100% true.
Yeah.
And that's basically what he makes enough revenue off of all the Far Side calendars and stuff. And, just all of his one strip thing. But yeah, he totally fell into that. That's the most amazing thing to me, right? That, as you say, not an easy thing to do to write a comic strip or even just a single, he used to do a single frame, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to last week's episode with the memes. This guy was writing one frame. The stuff was funny, right? And
one quip. Oh yeah, we know Far Side, especially over here. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't recall anybody hating the farce. I mean, maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe someone was offended over the calendar.
It might not be your favorite, but what is there to hate?
I mean, I got a calendar for one of my birthdays when I was a kid, Far Side calendar, and I was pretty upset the next year. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, hey, this calendar's empty. You might want to update this.
Hey,
it was bullshit too, because it was like when my birthday started. So it was like one of those weird calendars that start when you're like the month of your birthday. Well, it's just awesome when you have a birthday. It gives you 12 months, but I got like half the year fucking knocked off. I'm like, what's this discount shit? I hope you get paid full price for this.
I'm a summer baby and you get me a calendar. What the fuck?
Like, God damn it.
Another
way to prove you didn't want me.
God damn. Oh,
I dropped that one a lot. When you're 7 years away from your next sibling, it's easy to drop that one. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but it's so easy to drop that one.
You were just horny, admit it.
You guys were drunk. I'm an oops baby. I was 10 and 8 years away from my siblings, but it's a different dad. So I mean, I had that on my side.
Yeah.
Just made other things way more awkward. But okay, all right.
Yeah. It's like I got memories of y'all dropping me off in random families when I was like 2. I don't even know these people. I just remember weekends of just random families. And you guys, what, the law made you come back?
All right.
You guys couldn't figure out how to just leave with my brother. You had to figure out how to get the baby too. My bad.
I mean, at least they were, willing to do that. I guess. I don't know. Bare minimum. Come on, let's give it up for the bare minimum.
It is the bare minimum.
I do have a memory. I know they were like friends of my mom or dad or parents of my brother. I don't know, but I remember like 2 or 3. I literally got dropped off at a random white people's family for like a good weekend or so. That's all I remember. It's just my parents just like dropped us off. I was like 2 or 3. I remember looking, I'm like, all right, cool. Where y'all going? And then gone. And then I didn't see him for like the next couple of days. I swear to God, I think California was like, these are your kids. Just to be clear.
Yeah.
That's how RaShaun did his remake of The Jerk. Okay. All right. We're here. I
was working on some nifty glasses.
We are the Steam Gentlemen. We are the Council of Geek. We are the podcast that dares to ask the question that no one else will ask in pop culture and social commentary. I am Josh, the Birdman, the man with an ass made for radio.
That's not true.
Hey, come on. Just saying. It's,
man, deadlift. Forget
flat like the side of a house. Okay, the water just goes right off it, shoom, right down there.
The guy who was singing Eminem in the airport, desperately. One of Eminem's classics. He definitely was talking about you with the sex trafficking, the deja vu. If you, looking at that butt,
we all know that. We all know that.
We don't all know that.
We all know that with the blood libel and,
most of us
and the protocols of the elders of Zion, it always comes back to me somehow or another. But we are here. You've heard already from my 2 wonderful co-hosts. Let's introduce RaShaun Smith, the 3 of clubs as he is known by, the guy who you never know what's going to come next, who's always throwing curveballs and sliders each and every day. How you doing today, RaShaun?
How you do? What you do? I just want to point out, I'm not sure if I'm the only person out there, there's probably a medical condition that can describe what I'm talking about. But anyone else have not just a brain that goes against itself, but literally it feels like 2 parts of your brain are constantly at war, but not in a disagreeing way. I don't mean like angel and devil. I mean like they're constantly talking shit to each other, and because of that one-upping and your bad decisions, it's kind of like, yeah, you know what? He won't do that because he only has 5 minutes. And the other side of my brain is like, you're such a bitch. No, he totally is going to do that. He's going to do something else because that is so smart. He should do that. And then the other side of the brain is like, I don't like how you're thinking about this because it's not big enough. He should definitely do all these bad things. And then one more thing. It's like, why is my brain talking shit about good decisions that I should be like trying to do, and then bad decisions are like just one up it? Am I the only one? I might be.
I
think we just met RaShaun.
That's RaShaun.
No, I'm telling you again.
I think that was RaShaun.
I do not have it in my spirit to hit that level of the man wakes up angry.
That was an internal struggle.
That's struggle. There's no anger there. The person you're referring to is angry at the start.
at the start. I'm going to dub it Waldorf and Stettler brain. I think that's what I think it is.
All right. Fair enough.
Inside of Rashawn's head are the two old dudes,
white man puppets.
Two old white man dudes heckling the Muppets, though. I mean, they are heckling the Muppets. I got to tell you,
that comment does not land the way you think it does.
All right. Fair enough. I mean, you try. It's always
could give me like legal ego and animal or something. I mean,
there you go. Okay, I like that. Sam the Eagle and Animal. I can deal with that.
Sam the Eagle. Yeah,
we definitely. I mean, I've always felt like Sam the that's the prefrontal lobe, and Animal's the medulla oblongata and the lizard brain back there. Woman. It's, all the different parts. My humor is definitely Fozzie Bear, so we know that. Waka waka waka.
Not you.
That's how that's gonna land. But
you nailed that waka.
But yeah, definitely.
A lot more Gonzo in there than you wanna agree with.
Is that a nose comment? That we're going with that? Oh my goodness.
The person who has the smallest nose in the group? Yeah, it's a nose comment. Yeah, that's it. You nailed it.
Oh, nailed it every time.
We'd have that stereotype backfire.
Nailed it every time. And let me introduce you to my other co-host, the amazing Star Child, the coolest one of us all, the one with the sultry tone, with the bass tones on the voice. It is Gregory DeSense. How you doing today?
Well, goddamn.
There we go.
That was such an introduction. I feel like I'm not going to live up to it. But welcome all listeners all over the world, including Detroit.
Detroit. We love.
Shout out to my family living there.
But are they
especially Detroit?
No, they're not listening. I can promise you that. But since we're talking about Detroit,
since we brought up the word Detroit, especially Detroit.
All right. Well, as we're listening and as we're referencing Michigan, I actually want to call out Traverse City, Sutton's Bay, Elk Rapids, and Williamsburg, all getting some downloads in this month. So we appreciate that. Illinois, though, by the way, Plainfield overtook Joliet from last week. So thank you so much for that.
What's the matter with you, Joliet? Come on.
16 downloads there, but Joliet's hanging right in there with 14. And just got to give a big ass shout out to Oklahoma City, OKC, with 17 downloads. Thank you so much for joining us and joining in on this steam, gentlemen. While we have you here, just before we get into the meat of our subject, getting down to business, as it is that time to get down to it, please, if you have a moment, go on over to iTunes, rate and review, help us climb the charts. Help us push this steamy agenda and get us out into the world. Help us sell erectile dysfunction pills and Casper mattresses and Angel's Envy. What is that? Bourbon? What was that, RaShaun? I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
Sure, why not?
We will shill for fucking anyone is what it boils down to. Well, maybe not anyone. There's probably a couple.
Maybe not anyone.
Maybe not.
Really? Especially our age range. There's some people that come on here and they're like, "Hold up, they're not racist." Oh God.
Oh no, damn. All right, so maybe there's a few exceptions.
I do enjoy that.
I'm just saying the field is pretty big. I absolutely. I'll work for M&Ms. I'll work for Hershey's. I got no problem with that. I don't care. Really don't care. Really don't care if the green M&M is shaving pits or doing whatever. I don't know. I don't give a shit. It's a green M&M. It's okay. It's okay. We got it. So, we're going on there. But please do that. Follow us on the socials. Do You Even Steam Bro on Instagram. Seeing lots of love from you guys out there. Having lots of fun with everybody. And the Steam Gentleman podcast on Facebook. So, don't be afraid to throw a like out there, though RaShaun pointed out that maybe people are afraid to throw a like to us. I get it, but be bold. I think you can be bold for us. We're relatively harmless and non-offensive. Relatively,
I mean, download left and right. How about that? Okay. For every time you want to go download one of our episodes. And here's the fun part, people. No one on Spotify can see your rating on social media unless you want them to. So you can rate us there. You can rate us on Apple. No one's following that. You would have to share that information, which I do understand for some of us a little too hard. However, there is hope and solace for you.
All right. Well, RaShaun brought a great idea to the table today, so I wanted
that's right. Blame me.
That's it. That's exactly what I'm doing. You see that bust? I just threw you right the fuck under it. Okay. It's coming down the hill. It's picking up steam. Now, RaShaun had a good idea, a great idea, talking about our favorite franchises, our favorite intellectual properties, IPs, if you will, as one does, and all the favorite things that we do. But thinking about what it means and what we bring to it, and what if the sidekick was the main character? And stay with me, hold on to it, stay with it. What if that sidekick as the main character was a woman? Because we think it's high time that we talk about this, right?
That is not my idea, but I'll go with it.
All right. Well, one possibility of it. It is. We freeform this stuff as we go.
In one dimension, this is what you said, RaShaun, or text.
Somewhere in the multiverse, this idea was put out there. That's all I'm saying. Have you not seen the Marvel movies?
I've slept through a good amount of them.
Okay, fair enough. I get it. Age is catching us all, so I do understand that.
Oh, I do not think age is to blame for some of the fresh material that we're covering at this point.
Oh, fair enough. But I thought it was a great idea.
It's another dimension. Oh, we're saved. Oh,
no,
awesome writing.
Guy. Oh no, another bad guy who's also purple.
Gotta go get him.
Grimace is here. Okay. But RaShaun, I think you had a great idea. So with that, you get to bat in the leadoff space. Let's see how you're doing there. Step on up for your 10 minutes of fame. RaShaun Smith, the 3 of clubs. Let's go.
What Mr. Fink, aka the Birdman, did is something reminiscent of a lot of educators do when they have that a little too chatty kid for that day. They give them a speaking role right away. Hopefully, they'll tire that little ass out. And I see you, Mr. Fink, aka Birdman. You have to remember, or I'll remind you, my life has been surrounded by educators. My mom was a teacher. My wife's a teacher. I have aunts and uncles there. It goes on and on. So, nice job. I appreciate it. A for effort.
You're welcome.
B for nice try. My idea, if we're going to be specific, at least in this dimension, in this realm, was looking at movies through the female sidekick's perspective, and what does that do to that movie?
Potato. All right. Potato, tomato. Okay, go on.
Yeah, it was more like potato and gourd. But anyway, no, that's not fair. I can't think of the vegetable. But the point being, it's like I just thought it would be fun with a lot of the movies that are out there. Some, we're probably up to like 70-something thousand movies that have been ever made or something like that. Maybe much bigger. I don't know. But mass produced, let's say. It'd just be kind of fun to look at it from a female perspective. It'd be there's some easy go-tos too before I get to the one that actually always makes me think of this idea. And frankly, Hollywood, I think you're sleeping on a gold mine with an easy retelling of a story that was low budget and completely destroyed its returns in a great way, to the point that it became not only a classic to the critics, but also a classic to the viewers, cult classic, which is hard to do both. But I'll get to that. But like easy things, like if you want to take Fight Club and look at it from Marla's perspective, keep in mind, this woman is dealing with someone who's literally having his personality split violently in front of her. Now, at a certain point, she's definitely figured it out. Like, we're talking about someone who is way more. We're talking about someone who had mastermind support group classes for minimal things. Like, that is someone who's living in a major city, who's figured out a social network system within a social network system within another one, just for the fucking coffee and donuts. I mean, you can call that a lot of things, but that is a lot of goddamn planning. That is a lot of organization. That is a lot of pull through and thought. So I'm willing to bet she understood well into the story, as she's dealing with someone who probably just hammered it, and you can take that any way you want it to, in a way that she's like, fuck it, I've been dealing with losers left and right. Let me see where this goes. Probably did not see it ending where it did. But I have to say, we've all been in relationships where, frankly, we were like one or two bad decisions away from knowing a Tyler Durden. Let's be real. We were just one or two. I think a lot of us, maybe you didn't quite date this person, maybe could have, but I know at least one of us, or a lot of us within the time you hit about 40 or so.
I totally dated Marla.
See?
Yeah.
But I'm saying there's a couple of Tyler Durdens out there that were one or two bad decisions away from either hang out with or dating or worse. And I'm willing to bet by the time you hit 40 or both, by the time you hit 40, at least one person, and maybe you didn't date or whatever, but you could have, you had close decisions and you found out through time, like where their life ended was like a Tyler Durden type thing. And you weren't surprised. That's the thing. Like, I'm just saying, Marla totally saw it coming. I think she was just writing out. Same thing with let's go with the Matrix. Let's try to look at it from Trinity's point of view. Here's a woman who has been fighting a weird ass rebellion for the last couple of years, writing it out with this dude named Morpheus. Now, I'm not saying she had feelings for him, but I'm willing to bet she was basically all right, well, you fucking released me, so this is the best I'm going to get, so I might as well just make it happen. And then some dude drops in being called the one. Now, I'm not saying their romance towards the end of the story isn't necessarily genuine, but I'm just saying, at her point of view, if you look at 100% from her point of view, I'm going to go ahead and willing to say that being the one was probably second to the fact that this dude was just least offensive than the rest of the assholes she's probably been hanging out with for the last 4 or 5 years while trying to save her life. Like, we all act like everyone who came out of the Matrix was just great people. I'm willing to bet there are way more ciphers than fucking Morpheuses and Neos that came out of the goddamn Matrix. So I'm willing to bet at a certain point, she's like, yeah, you can be the one if you want to. And I'm going to follow you through these weird ass adventures, these things that there's no way in the world she's going to be able to say, even with the history that she had, that's exactly where she's going to go in each adventure of the story that Neo takes her. But it's kind of like, again, it's him or fucking Cypher. So what am I going to, or am I going to be raving for the next 4 hours before some giant monster comes out of nowhere? Robotic monster and just fucking rips my heart out while I'm in the middle of some rave orgy like Greg likes to call it. I think it was a little bit more profound than that. Let's go.
It was a rave orgy. I'm with Greg on that one. But anyway, moving on.
Let's go with Pulp Fiction. I'm just aiming for the easy ones that a lot of us have seen. So go from Pulp Fiction. If you take the perspective of every female character in that movie, it is a totally different movie. And frankly, I would argue it is a way more trippy movie. Imagine Butch's girlfriend. Imagine the shit she is seeing every single time this guy comes back to the goddamn motel room. Imagine the progression of shit this woman is trying to figure out. By the time she gets to the question of whose chopper it is, you got to think she's got 100 questions that she's just keeping down. That was just the easiest one she could get to. That's literally the only one that she could probably push out before she loses her goddamn shit, because she is literally seeing hell walk through her door in progression. She is seeing all fucking goddamn 7 levels of the ladder. Go ahead, Josh.
Dude, all she wants is blueberry pancakes. Come on, dude. I mean, I think
that's where she ends. I don't know if that's where she starts. I think that's where she ends.
What about buttermilk?
What about homegirl Arquette? Imagine her situation. Yeah, she gets yelled at and she's a little bit, she got a little bit of attitude, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure I'd be fucking cool too if my house is constantly being invaded by junkies who can't handle their shit. That's literally saying, hey, by the way, not only can you not handle the fucking product that my boyfriend or husband or SO gave you, you got to bring that shit to my house. So that means we're all fucking in trouble. We're all possibly getting arrested or shot or worse. I got to be involved in this. And you imagine, just think about it. That dude sold to Vincent fucking Vega. You imagine how much shit that went through that house? You imagine how many weird things that woman saw? Or let's go with fucking Marcellus Wiley's girl. Again, same thing. Whole different movie if we're watching it from the female perspective. Actually, the more I think about it, almost every movie, when you think about it, regardless of the genre of the movie, if you look at it from a female perspective, almost immediately turns into a murder mystery. That's the funniest thing about a lot of them. Literally, because from their perspective, they're just watching shit happen not only in real time, but from third party perspective or from the news. So it's just weird. Even one of my favorite movies, Donnie Darko. even if you take it from the sister or a homegirl who got killed that fucking set up part of the events. Again, watch it from their perspective. They're watching this dude go from just being some random quiet dude to all of a sudden walking around basically having so much prescience that he is like literally seeing into the future while talking to you. Not easy to handle. So imagine the thoughts that come from that. But the thought that kicked it off, the coup de grace, the one where I'm like, Hollywood, literally, you don't have to do much to just write it. You literally can just write it from her perspective, from the same exact plot and movie, and you see a totally different thing that I swear to you will make you money. It's momentum. The tattoo artist has to fucking be going through some shit by the time she's done at the end of that movie. Just imagine the progression of shit that woman went through to fucking tattoo each and fucking neurotic detail that individual came in and asked her for. Imagine the fucking degradation of that man's character, his personality, how he was probably asking for things, what he was lighting off. The first tattoo, he probably didn't say shit why he wanted. He probably had one or two things. By the time he was done with his body, that man probably told her every fucking thing without actually giving her direct details that he could possibly think of or even didn't think of. Probably slipped some details, but not even like exact details. So she only has like a weird 43% of the story, but the type that like scares the shit out of you every fucking moment. Think about it. There's got to be at least 7 tattoos before that movie ends that woman's thinking, I got to call some authority. I got to do something. Like, this dude's going to kill me and everyone in it. But she doesn't, because she's fucking shook as hell, because by the time we're done with the end of that movie, that guy's memory is so dissolved and he is so ready to fucking do whatever the goddamn thing he wants to do that, yeah, she's not only going to tattoo whatever the fuck he wants to, she's going to do whatever the hell he wants just to stay alive. That is a totally different fucking movie from a awesome fucking movie and plot. Well, kind of overblown and a little overrated, but still, I think you got a little gold there, Hollywood.
All right. Well, again, RaShaun just giving the bank away. You know, we're just giving it out there to Hollywood.
That's what I do. I'm a giver.
You know, I think Uma Thurman said it.
Myself. Stop.
Uma Thurman said it straight up in that movie. She said whatever happened between Tony Rocky Horror and her husband was their business. It had nothing to do with her, and it had nothing to do with the foot massage. So that's that, you know.
Well, on top of that, people talk to like individuals that work on them. If you go to a barber, chances are your barber knows more about you than a lot of people close to you. Oh, I'm willing to bet by the time that man, like any person who gets tattooed by the same person over and over and over, they're going to be expanding a lot of who they are and their personality. Just imagine what that woman was hearing by the time that movie was over and the story she had to piece together. On top of the fact that in her world, that story is also being played out in the news. Let's not forget, like, it's just not like she's just can ignore it. There's definitely some details where she heard from this guy is like, that's fucking wild. No way you did that. Like you would be in jail. And then she went home, watched some goddamn TV, some evening news with her husband after Jeopardy. And she's seeing that shit just get played out in unsolved mysteries or murders and shit.
I do have to love that you mentioned not only The Matrix, but Memento, and that Carrie Ann Moss is in both of them. So that's pretty cool. All right, there you go.
That's an interesting point. Absolutely.
You got that right there. So, you know, you got a twofer, RaShaun. Well done. Well done. Right, that up there. You
knocking it out of the park.
You really 3 club that shit there, kid. Nice.
I got more than 2 hours of sleep last night. So
oh my goodness.
I know.
Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah, well,
despite sounding like a drug surfer who has a nasal problem, I am on top of the world.
Oh my God, he's on his stuff. Watch out, everybody.
Never surfed.
Well, he's
on his stuff.
Let's turn this little lens around to my friend, the star child himself. I want to hear your 10 minutes of thoughts. I want to hear your 10 minutes of deep thoughts as with that Barry White voice of yours, with that silky smooth. I'm really playing that up today because I'm just
I know, right? Like I feel it's a little bit of pressure, but at the same time, I like it.
It's all good. No, it's all good. Like we all feel that Greg's got the best voice of us all. So let's bring the silky smooth pipes up to the front there. Let's hear about that. Let's flip this around. Let's flip perspectives. Let's talk about that.
It's a lot. I feel like my mind automatically goes to older movies for the simple fact that it's in those movies that you really didn't get a lot of development for female characters. You know, like it was really just them either shouting too much or just being there to make, Jimmy Stewart look more important than he actually is. But, in those movies, even, the main female characters, everybody felt like an Alice Cramden. It's not to say that I didn't understand it from Alice Cramden's perspective. For her in those days, like it really was, your husband brought home the check and you just tried to keep him from doing anything immensely stupid. In the meantime, you've got to contend with Jackie Gleason being so goddamn Jackie Gleason. And it wasn't easy. It couldn't have possibly been easy. But I think that, for her, exactly, to the moon, Alice, like he's just regularly threatening this woman. And, he's got his friend who was actually a brilliant actor too. And, between all of them, it's a question of who actually was the one getting all of the credit. But I just feel like from the women's perspective, from Alice's perspective, it was this large man who just finds new levels of buffoonery every damn day. And it's just a practice and after post World War II female forgiveness. And you just have to constantly be there with it right on the top. Fast forward to Skylar White. And the thing is, Skylar White, that amazes me for a lot of reasons, that people hate her. And I think it says more about people than it does anything about the character of Skylar White. But your husband actually wants to start selling meth after you find out that he has potentially terminal cancer and you have a son that is special needs and neither of you are wealthy and you're not coming from a wealthy family, and he decides to do this with his life. He decides to do this. And so she gets to this point where she's like, you know what? I'm going to be in on this with him. And she does. Like, she runs the books for him for a little while. And then this shit goes haywire. She's the one who wants to get the fuck out of it. She knows for a fact that this has absolutely gone too far. And this man is now a monster. He's a monster, people. He's an absolute monster. And everybody's like, why does Skylar have to be so stupid? Her husband's selling meth.
That's not in the exact order, but yeah.
I mean, like, he's just hanging out while this girl just gargles on her own puke. It's like, like she was getting in the way anyway.
Great scene.
Anyway.
And
I'll poison.
I agree with Walter White on that one.
And I'll poison the other girl's kid because I just cannot let Jesse be happy under any circumstances.
Exactly. I just can't let him go. It
would have to do the drugs.
So yeah, like just that at least here, she goes all out to save her family at the end, where Walter still couldn't see where he was headed. Even you got your fucking brother-in-law murdered. So by the end of it, Skylar White, even if you were supposed to be hating her, by the end of it, you've got to forgive her. People still don't. Like, this man ended up living on the top of a fucking mountain in New Hampshire. This did not work. This plan of yours did not work. And go ahead, try to blame it on Skylar. I dare you. Yeah. So that's my, TV pairing. So for my movie pairing, I wanted to go to A Man for All Seasons, a really great movie with Paul Scofield, and he plays Thomas More. If you don't know anything about the story of Thomas More, he was a good friend of Henry VIII, and he didn't agree that Henry VIII should divorce Catherine of Aragon. And a lot happened to this poor man, but basically Henry killed him because he stood in his way. And his wife was a woman named Lady Alice More. She's played by Wendy Hiller in the movie. Yeah, she's played by Wendy Hiller in the movie. And she's a fascinating character because she's not educated like everybody else, like the rest of her husband's circle. I think they actually say she's illiterate. But this woman is a lion in this movie. He calls her a lion too, but she's incredible the way I'll say banter back and forth, but she holds her own with her simplicity. Like, she's a simple woman, but she absolutely holds her own, especially when her husband decides to take this position, and she knows, well, he's going to kill you. Are you out of your mind, you sad little man? You really think he's going to let your charming little friendship stand in the way of getting what he wants? He's put people's head on a spike for less. You honestly think this is going to work? And she defies him every step of the way. Now, obviously, she forgives him when the time comes for him to face his execution. But through the entire movie, oh my God, is this woman the voice of reason, while Thomas More is being an idealist with way too many words. You're going through way too many words to prove what everyone else knows. But he is a martyr, and he's taking a position on these things. That's why you're supposed to root for him. But at the same time, this woman is a stone. Like, she is doing her best to be rational while her husband's being idealistic in the name of Christ Jesus. Fast forward, I wanted to talk about Matilda from the Professional. This movie is definitely, it's run into some problems. People aren't really, especially the extended cut. You know what? Everything before 2016 is problematic. Anyway,
there's issues. There's officially issues.
Yeah, everything before 2016 is problematic. Just accept it. So she's played by Natalie Portman, and I think Natalie Portman was actually 14 in this movie.
She was close anyway. Yeah, she was
actually
young.
14, and she's playing.
She was very young. She was certainly 14, 15, 13, somewhere in that range. Yeah,
exactly. And so this movie is exceedingly violent, but her father is working with a crooked cop, I think, smuggling some drugs, and her entire family gets killed. And she wasn't there for the massacre. So she ends up under the protection of a guy who coincidentally is a hitman. And so through this entire movie, he is basically showing this teenage girl how to be a murderer, how to kill, to clean, as he calls it. He's supposed
cleaner.
To be the cleaner. Yeah, the cleaner. He's showing her how to clean.
For Matilda.
Right. Yeah. And it's I don't know. I got some Batman and Robin vibes. I won't lie. Like, you have no right dealing with this, teenager's tragic loss by showing them how to be a sociopath. Like, it's just not okay. But it does give the little girl a discipline and a control that she never had in her life. She always had these two psychotic criminal parents, a sister that she hated, and now the little brother that she loved is dead. And now she feels very small she finds out that, about the corrupt police officer. She feels very small against a very large thing, the NYPD, not just some corner drug dealer, but damn near an entire system involving crime families and mafia and drug dealing police. She feels completely helpless. So she finds this man who wants to teach her how to do these things. And the way that the child adapts does make you think about how strong children actually are. And it comes through. Like, she just adapts to the situation, does what she's supposed to do. She acts out a couple of times, but it does make her willful. But the way that she is able to show this kind of stoicism, in violent stoicism, but stoicism in the face of what just happened to her, and now the things that she's dealing with, being shown how to kill people. Yes, that is the kind of not adaptation, but the way children are just very adaptable in a lot of very tough situations. I thought it was very brave, because most people do not want to show that. Like, people always pretend that children are so sad and so weak. But if you look around the world, who has to carry most of the weight of adults' violence? It's children.
Well, some cases they were the violent.
Yeah, like it ends up being them, so they have to be strong biologically. Just in their evolution, they have to be strong, because adults, we're just always finding ways to get ourselves killed. So it wasn't afraid to show that. Now, she also has a crush on the hitman. And I did think that it was brave of them to just show that, how teenagers are. Like, even though she's in this situation, she's just so comically bad at it. And I thought that was very honest too, because not only did it show that she still wants something. She still wanted a future for yourself, because let's be honest, when you love, you still want a future for yourself. You still want to look forward to something. And I think that was more what the crush was about than any of the very ugly things that have been thrown on those scenes since then.
No, it was the 90s.
Yeah.
We didn't project as much. We didn't think it through so much.
Well, I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and try to debate Greg's points. It's his points. That's the whole point of what we're talking about, is we're just taking perspective of a movie and seeing it from a female perspective, right? I'm just going to point out a couple things about the actual movie. One, it came out during a time where a lot of wars were being fought, and unfortunately, a good amount of them were being fought by children's soldiers. So, and children's soldiers, sadly, are kind of throughout history, but in this case, it was definitely prominent in one part of the world, and it was well documented. So, it's kind of came out reflecting that. Also, it was kind of a little bit of an homage to another child sort of soldier picture, which has been used a bunch of different times in a lot of different projects with La Femme Nikita. So, it was a little bit of an homage to that as well.
Same director and same actor, and in the case of Leon, same character, sort of, kind of, not really.
Third, I think we're not quite giving enough credit to Leon character's situation, whereas like he finds himself with this kid. He's not so much like he doesn't know what to do with the kid. So I think really that is why he moves to like basically, all right, well, let me just tell you this, because ironically similar to the character you were talking about in the film before, we're not necessarily literate or quote unquote intelligent, but with common sense. Bulldogs and bulldozes, through, people. And I think you called her a lion or a lioness or something like that, or warrior. I don't know. But similar in that way, that was Leon. Like he wasn't a smart man. He just knew how to operate weapons in a masterful way and use them. So
I think was he illiterate in that? Didn't she teach him how to read?
I think she did.
Yeah,
so, or at least helped him. So like like in a lot of ways, it was kind of like this grown man who barely even knows how to be a man himself. It was kind of like, I don't know what the fuck to do with a 13-year-old. And sadly, he kind of reciprocated the love. And to your point of courage, they kind of show that. Also, again, I hate that you bring up fucking Skylar White, because we're so misordering things. There's a couple of fucking things that she did to kick off a good amount of hate. I'm not talking about the incels. I'm talking about most of us who watch it like, yo, fuck her. So it's not exactly like she was just damsel in distress. I just got to say that. And I think Breaking Bad is overrated. I think Walter White kind of fucking sucked. I was happy he died at the end. I'm just saying.
It definitely. Yeah, we'll have to do a break. We might have to do a Breaking Bad episode. But all right, I like.
I'm the one who knocks twice. Shut the fuck up.
I did like. Greg. I really liked. I especially liked The Professional, or AKA Leon. Depending on what you're watching.
For Matilda.
Good choice. I like that. I like what you're talking about. Loved A Man for All Seasons, by the way. One of my favorites. So you and I have a lot of taste in our classic cinema when it goes together there, and always that, and yeah, like, man, Sir Thomas More, we appreciate you. We appreciated your morals. Do not get between the king and, trading down for a younger version of his wife. Like, it's just that simple. Don't do it, Tommy. Don't do it. Just back it off. All right. Greg, wait, you muted there, I think. You actually accidentally muted your mic. Wow, that was usually
of course he's going to kill you.
Yeah, that's just what's going to happen. All right. I got to step up, taking my 10 minutes here. I present to you 3 separate films that my premise in the end is, yes, we're going to flip perspective today, but my premise and my purpose here today is to show you that in all 3 of these fine pieces of cinema, the woman is actually the main character. If you're paying attention, they only dangle some things out in front of you to distract you and make you think the man is the main character. I'm going to start with the film that made me know that I was going to marry my lovely wife, the absolute pinnacle of cinematic mastery that is John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China. Firstly, one of the best films ever made. If you haven't watched it, if you're listening to this out there, Steam people, go out. When we are done, find a way to stream it, find it on DVD, whatever it takes. get out and see this movie. It's one of the best films I think that's ever made. Now, in truth, one of the premises is that the hero, Mr. Jack Burton, portrayed by no other than Kurt Russell, who is the protagonist, allegedly the main character, who is a loudmouth, drunken talking, just swinging dick, just out there, always getting himself in trouble, really doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Like, you can figure that out pretty quickly. And that his sidekick, as you will, by the name of Wang, is the guy who knows what's going on. Like, he's the guy who can help negotiate through San Francisco Chinatown, tells him all the legends, all of these action hero things going on, right? And he's the guy who ends up doing all the cool action moves and, helping to take out the bad guy. But in the role of the heroine, if we're using the proper terms, if that's the particular pronoun we're going with here today, which we'll go with that for now, is one Kim Cattrall in one of her very earliest roles, probably around the time, a little before Mannequin, certainly long before Sex and the City. But she plays a lawyer by the name of Gracie Law. And if you really pay attention to what's going on, not only is she the smartest character in the film, she's the one who figures it all out, and she's the one who gets everything going. She is taken captive by one David Lopan because of her green eyes. And another woman by the name of Mao Ying, both there to help break a curse so this ghost can come back to corporeal form, whatever. She's the one who can first break his spell. She's the one who understands what's going on. She's the one who every step of the way both our heroes, right? The one who thinks he's the hero, the one who actually is the hero, whatever. Always, she's the one who knows where to send them next. She knows that Mao Ying has been kidnapped and brought to a brothel. She knows who David Lopan is. She knows where the underground world is. She understands all of these things way faster, way quicker than every man in this film. So
her name's not Mary Sue.
It's kind of like, look, she's a reporter. All right, come on. And she knows what she's doing. Yes. Okay.
Like early April O'Neil.
Yeah. Early April O'Neil. That's a much better case of it. Exactly. Well before the TMNT. So you have that fine piece. By the way, fantastic piece of cinema. Go watch it again, watch it 2, 3, 4 times. It takes about that many times to really just soak all that in, that wonderfulness. Now,
which movie?
Big Trouble in Little China. You gotta watch that one. Now, John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China. Let's be serious. Now, I'm actually going to show you the same movie again, repackaged for you, which is Solo, a Star Wars story. Yeah. Truth is,
not the Mario Van Peebles.
Exactly, not the Mario Van Peebles Solo.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, great movie, but for my illustrative purposes here, not what I need. The Solo, a Star Wars story, is exactly the same. It is Big Trouble in Little China set in the Star Wars universe, right? Han Solo, he's out there. He's always a braggart. He's always talking a line of shit. He always gets himself in trouble. He has no idea really what's going on. The one who saves his ass every single time, the one who can really do it all, is Chewie, right? The sidekick there is always the guy, right? Chewie. Chewie knows what the fuck is going on. Chewie always fixes the ship. Chewie can really fly the ship. Chewie knows, what are you doing right now? What are you saying right now? You're totally going to get your balls in a sling as you say this. What are you doing right now, man? Stop it. Honest to God, Han should listen to Chewie. However, in Solo, a Star Wars story, he has a woman that he is infatuated with. They're both coming off the planet of Coruscant, and her name is Kira. And in the end, Kira ends up becoming part of the underground, part of the criminal underworld, overlooked by her boss. But nevertheless, he wishes, of course, to possess her. He's extremely jealous. He's tried to manipulate the whole situation. But again, if you pay close attention, Kira's the one who understands the entire heist. Kira's the one who makes sure the heist goes off, and in the end, gets it so that she takes control of the criminal empire just underneath. Little bit of a spoiler alert here. It's run by Darth Maul. If you're a Star Wars person, you know who I'm talking about. If not, you're like, Josh, what are you talking about right now? I get that. But nevertheless, watch this film, give it a watch through. I think it was actually a really fun film. I don't think it's the best Star Wars film I've ever watched, but really it unfortunately suffered from a bad release date and bad marketing, directed by Ron Howard, for Christ's sake. I mean, he did a great job.
You said bad directing?
No, I said directed by. That's all. Yeah, he did a great job. It's like it just
highly underrated.
The highly underrated, bad marketing. And when they chose to release it, on a holiday weekend with some other things that just really buried it. It was just a bad choice by Disney. So
I got a different feeling, but I'll let you finish.
Okay, fair enough. Finally, though, I bring you back to, well, I kind of bring it around because we had Solo. I bring it around to the original, the one, the only Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, I know we were talking, of course, about rewriting things and Roald Dahl.
I was going to do that one.
It always gets retold. It now gets marketed as Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I don't play that shit. Okay. On shot first, it's Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Good to know.
It's also Mad Max, followed by the Road Warrior, not Mad Max, the Road Warrior. There's just certain things here. It just is what it is. I don't,
People got to have principles, man. If not, anarchy.
Hey, I'm just saying, Mel Gibson's also a raving anti-Semite, but I watched those movies because I didn't know it back then. So
that's okay. That's not a hill you'll die on alone. I'm not with you, but there's other people.
There's other people out there, but nevertheless, Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? We have Indiana Jones, the worst archaeologist ever known to mankind. He destroys so much.
He's good. He's just a bad professor.
He's a terrible professor. He doesn't really preserve any of his notes. He really, just is always out there. He was Laura Croft before there was a Laura Croft, but his leading lady, such as it was back then, was Marion Ravenwood. Okay, played by Karen Allen, doing a fantastic job, by the way.
She is awesome.
She is so good in that movie. Later on, they bring her back again in the Crystal Skull,
for no reason.
Just because she was the best leading lady that he ever had. But let's start there. But if you watch,
you don't have to do it.
If you watch this movie again, yeah, Indy always thinks he knows what he's doing. He's the one there, literally whipping it out. Yeah, I went there with that. He's got the bullwhip going. Every other opportunity, except when he's got dysentery and he's got to shoot a guy with a sword. Okay, respect to that. But he's always the one out there getting into trouble, getting in all kinds of things. Marion Ravenwood, absolutely, again, 2 steps ahead of him. She has the device he needs to find the Ark. She knows. She gets in with Belloc, the French archaeologist who actually knows what the fuck he's doing, and gets some of the information out of him. She always is 1 step ahead every step of the way, knows what's going on. The only time Indiana Jones has any use in that film is he tells her to close her eyes at the end. That's it, right? Thankfully. Other than that, that's the one piece of information she doesn't have. Other than that,
I'm pretty sure they're dead within 30 minutes.
I'm just saying, other than that, the fact of the matter is he knows what's going on. He's always got it going on. He does not know what's going on. She knows what's going on. Excuse me. She is really the protagonist of that film. If you watch it really closely, she had to be dragged around by Abner, her father, everywhere, and she absorbed all that information. Was a barkeep in Nepal, no less, right? Just to become a property owner and can drink these guys under the table. Come on, this woman is far tougher, far smarter. If you notice, she saves his life multiple times in that bar fight. She shoots the guy when Indy's about to die. She hits the guy over the head with the flaming log. When they're trying to take off in the airplane, she knocks out the pilot. She starts everything going. She knows what's going on.
Going around the world killing people.
That's it, man. Mm-hmm. So Marion Ravenwood, forget Indiana Jones, man. Fuck Indiana Jones. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. All he can do is just, God knows how that man got tenure. That's all I have to say. That tenure review must have been something awful. So it should be Marion Ravenwood in the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
100%. That movie would rock from her perspective. Even the exact same movie. I love that you did it. Like I said, I was gonna pick that as one of my examples. I do want to point out, I would add, the one other thing Indiana was there for was the adventure side of things. Because let's be clear, sure, you can bring up the bar, But then you're going to have to ignore the 10 consecutive scenes after where they only get out of it because of it, maybe dumb brawn, whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm not here to pick it apart, but his adventure part of it, be it violent or, dexterity, whatever the fuck it is. So, but I'm with you. That would totally rock.
Yeah.
Hollywood make that movie.
I mean, he does the, punching and yelling thing, and it's great. But yeah, towards the end, he just gets captured again. So it was like all of that Nazi beating up was really just kind of a waste of time. Your dumbass ended up getting caught again anyway.
Man.
So yeah, I think you're 100% right. We did not need Indy in that movie.
Well, in a lot of ways, it becomes like a reverse Firefly when you think about it. Like, sure, the main characters can handle violence on their own, but they also have a specific character who's there to basically be the gun. So in a lot of ways, if you retell it from what's her name, Miss Allen's perspective, her character's perspective, Ravenwood, right?
Marion Ravenwood, yes.
Yeah, if you tell it from her perspective, it basically becomes fucking Firefly, but in the 1918s. So
I like
pretty cool, pretty awesome.
Like
Speaking of which, I think it's hilarious how much we love Star Wars and movies like it, because when you think about it, no one would want that situation in real life. Like, meaning, if you took New Jack City and made the exact same factions, you're not happy. You are not happy at all. Because Nino Brown is now your main character and also your hope and savior. So, shout out to weird ways we look at things, and because of space pirates, we're like, yeah, fuck it. And speaking of the space pirates, I would say Solo was up against it because it was up against the impossible question, similar to midi-chlorians. It came down to, it was fucked. It was doomed the moment they said they're going to tell people how Solo got his name. If they never fucking said that and just let the movie be, it would have been fine. Also, Chewie didn't fucking know what the hell was going on. He just actually knew what to do better than Solo, because Solo was also apparently a goddamn doofus who somehow avoided death left and right before he became the one we saw in episode 4. But before that, again, that movie was doomed because it made clear, like a midi-chlorians question was up against an impossible question. It was saying, we're going to tell you how he gets his name. They should have never fucking said it. Could have been the exact same movie. It would have been much better received.
All right. Chewie's a Mensa candidate. Like, let's just start with that. Like, that's how that goes. And as far as New Jack City in space, it's called Dune. So thank you very much. We already have that.
Okay. What exactly does Han Solo do when we meet him? What is he smuggling?
By the way, drugs. He's smuggling drugs. I get it.
Exactly.
That's the cleaned up New Jack City. But the true New Jack City in space is Dune. That's all. That's
just because it's a cute alien. If it's fucking sorry, if it's Pookie, it's Pookie. Like, it's someone's strung out.
Yeah, he's all right. So he's, but he's not strung out.
Speaking of the Pookie.
All right, there we go. Oh, well, it has been another fine, John, another brave venture into the unknown where we
Great acting, by the way.
Thank you.
Cool. The individual played Pookie. Does not get enough credit.
Rock. That was Chris Rock, man.
Thank you very much.
Gotta love that. Another brave venture into the ones daring asked to ask the questions that no other podcast will ask, in the questions of pop culture and social commentary. We're heading off into the rest of the week till we can reconvene and go and boldly go and ask those weird ass questions that no one will ask and no one really wants to. But before we do that, RaShaun, what you got going on for the rest of the week?
Similar to everything, try to survive paycheck to paycheck like 90% of the world and America. Actually, not the world, way less, but of America. But I can't let this sit. I'm sorry, I gotta call you to the mat. Solo and Big Trouble in Little China are not the same goddamn movies. One is like literally two idiots who land into a situation and barely avoid death and land into like a group of fucking thieves who died in the next fucking scene and somehow land back with his girlfriend and just fuck the bag up left and right. And he somehow survives into the person we love and shot first. And the other is literally a story of an idiot who doesn't know anything, and his sidekick is just someone who tells the story to him. Like, I love that movie too, but let's be clear about what we're talking about.
Hey, It was the first movie my wife just randomly, it was around our like 5th date. She gave me a copy and I knew I was going to marry her because any woman who gives you a copy of Big Trouble in Little China, you marry. And secondly, I'm giving you homework then over the week. You got to watch those movies back to back. You can
Excuse me.
those two.
During the HBO era, where when they had a movie of the fucking month, that meant you're watching that movie for the next 3 years because it was like 10 movies strong. I've seen that movie so many goddamn times. You got nothing for me.
You need a refresher on those two. All right, you watch those two back to back. You can come back around next week.
Better get your yellow turban, buddy.
All right, there we go. That's it.
I'm kind of with Josh on this one. Okay.
You can be all you want.
Gregory, what you got going on for the rest of the week?
I hope
it's going to be a quiet week. I'm going to try to get some outside things done.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, it's not going to be really fucking cold. So
yeah, no, we see the first kind of similar signs of springs. Actually, I got to contact you and ask your lovely wife about, I got some garlic that sprouted in my refrigerator. No joke. And I want to see if I can plant that in the garden this year.
You have to ask her, but I'm pretty sure the answer is no.
All right, fair enough. But I'll ask him. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, well, it's sprouting. Like, will it plant? Will it live in the garden? So I got to go feed my kids, keep them alive. We've kept them alive thus far. My youngest has not only decided to play the most expensive sport known to mankind, he set his little heart on playing the most expensive position in the entire world across all sports. He wants to be a hockey goalie. He wants to be a hockey goalie. Jesus Christ. As if, I mean, I think I've managed to steer the other one onto a cross country track. So, all right, maybe I'll make it through without being completely broke because it's a pair of running shoes versus all of that ridiculous shit. However, he made me very proud this weekend. He was playing the game. He wasn't in goal, but he was helping the kid who was in goal, who had never been playing it before. And he was extra kind to him. And when it was always going up and pumping this kid up, saying you're doing a great job. And when anyone on his team scored, he was always the first to cheer. So, and he was throwing himself all over the ice. So that shit's proud. Absolutely. Going on there. Yeah, we're going to live on it. Please don't forget to rate and review. Go Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you are. Follow us on the socials. Do you even Steam Bro on Instagram or Steam Gentleman Podcast on Facebook.com. We appreciate it. We love you. Tell some people to tell some people. We're loving doing what we're doing. We're really having such a blast doing this. It really is a great time. We get to just sit around and talk nerd shit and talk nerdy to me all day long. That's what we want to do. That is exactly. That's what we want. So we thank you so much for joining us. Please come back around again. Listen to us next week. Until then, this is Josh the Birdman saying keep your heat up and keep your head of steam on.